Hey folks, welcome to the Buckeye Blitz on FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff, your host. You can follow me on Twitter at FitHappens. Go to the website, FanStreamSports.com. Download the app. It's free for Apple and Android users. Go check that out. You get all of our program. We got so many different new shows we're adding all the time. The Facebook group, there's a FanStream Sports Facebook group. Interact with other fans of our shows, or maybe people who hate our shows. Hell, who knows what's going to be on there. Anyway, want to talk first of all here about Ohio State football. There's some scheduling news. First, I'll do this. I want to talk about some of the things going on for the upcoming season. We found out recently Ohio State and Texas will be a big noon kickoff by noon Eastern time. Maybe they call it big noon for that for Fox. And OSU Grambling will be a BTN game at 3:30 in week 2. Week 3, Ohio State plays the OU Bobcats. That's a 7 o'clock game on Peacock only. So that's their first 3 games of the season, all home games for Ohio State. Texas at noon, August 30th. And then the following week, they'll be hosting Grambling at 3:30 on BTN, and then the OU Bobcats at 7 o'clock on Peacock. And there's a lot of fans upset about the fact that this game with Texas is going to be a noon game and not a night game. Ohio State's played a ton of noon games. And anybody complaining at it shouldn't complain about Fox. This is not, the fact this happened is not Fox's fault. The fact this happened is the Big Ten got in bed with Fox. The Big Ten agreed to this. They agreed to, and it's a very lucrative deal for the Big Ten. The media rights deal they gave with Fox. So Fox has the right, because the way the Big Ten signed it, and now some people aren't in with the Big Ten anymore, but the people who agreed to it that were representing Big Ten schools, representing the conference, agreed to this deal to give Fox the rights to the first 3 picks. Any 3 games they want to pick that involves a Big Ten team at home, they can pick any one of those, any 3 of those. They get the first 3 picks at the start of the season. So every year Fox takes Ohio State, Michigan. That's one of their big ones. This year, we know they took Ohio State, Texas. We believe Ohio State, Penn State, I don't know if they're confirmed yet, but they're going to be the third one, I would think, will be the third game that Fox would take. So, and Fox has decided, they knew this going, the Big Ten knew this going in. Fox wants to own noon. They aren't going to try to own 3:30. They're not going to try to own primetime. They went into this strategically years ago and said, we want to own that noon window. We're going to put a big game on every week at noon. That's why this is happening. Not because Fox is trying to screw Ohio State. It's good business for Fox to have Ohio State, Texas at noon. If that's what they want to own, that's fantastic. That's a smart business move for them. It wasn't a great business move for Ohio State and the Big Ten, other than the fact they got a ton of money for doing this. So that's why they did this. So if you're upset with Fox, I don't blame Fox at all for this. It's a Big Ten thing. They agreed to do this. That's what happened. I'll talk more about something that why that you should be upset about certain things that are being done because of the way decisions were made. Going to a question I had for people here, because Ohio State tried to move the game, the Texas game. They tried to move it to Sunday, the day before Labor Day, in a primetime spot. And Texas refused that. Texas had the right to do that. Ohio State said, let's play Sunday. Fox said, okay, let's do Sunday night primetime. Notre Dame, Miami's going on at the same time, but that's all that's on as far as football goes at that time. So Ohio State, Texas would have done they're going to do a big number anyway. But they would have done a big number there. And Texas said, nope, we're going to keep it at Saturday. And that's smart for Texas. Would you rather play Ohio State at noon on a Saturday or in a primetime game on a Sunday? So Texas would rather take that risk and play Ohio State at noon on the Saturday game. There would have to be a lot of changes made if Texas agreed to it. They would have to, change a lot of travel arrangements. It could put their fans in a bad spot. So Texas was well within their rights to do that. No one did anything wrong here. Ohio State simply said, we would like for you to play the game on Sunday night. Texas said no. Fox said we're keeping it at noon. That's where it is. Ironically, next year when Ohio State and Texas play at Texas, that game for sure will be a primetime game on ABC or something like that, and you'll see it there, ESPN. But yeah, the game next year will certainly be a primetime game on the first weekend. But for this time, it's going to stay at noon. The Grambling game, 3:30 BTN. BTN doesn't get the top selection, so they take what they can. Grambling's a good one for them. Ohio State, any Ohio State game they can get on BTN. That's what they want to do. Any game that no other network is taking, that's not going to be on CBS or not going to be on Fox and things like that, or ones aren't going to be on that. That's where BTN jumps in. That's why they took Grambling. The Ohio State game against OU, it's a 7 o'clock. It's a night kick on Peacock. That's just to boost their numbers and get people. That'll be the time, by the way, when You'll get calls from probably your parents or things like that, or people who are in their later stages of life are saying, why can't I watch the game? What the hell is Peacock? I know I get it every year by a couple of people where they can't find, why isn't the game on, or whatever they'll say. That's where it's going to be. It'll be on Peacock at 7 o'clock. So another thing now, the Horseshoe is getting some changes made to it for the 2026 season. They're adding more premium seating. They're calling it premium seating for the Horseshoe for the 2026 season. They're moving the band from the south end to the north end of the stadium. I know I'm doing this. I don't know if I'm going south or north. I got it the right way. But anyway, I'm just showing you as I watch the game, the south stands are over here, north stands are over there. So they're moving the band from the south to the north. The band for years, the north end is where they were. That was the spot they were in, so they're going back to where they used to be. They've been in the south end for quite a while now, the south stands. And what Ohio State is doing now is they're going to take that space and put 400 premium seats in. And those seats are going to be all seat backs, wider seats than you have right now at the Horseshoe. You get access to a bunch of different things. There's some special restrooms you can use. You can walk down the tunnel where the players come in. You get to walk down that to get to your seats. There's other perks in there. Access to the restaurant, the club, 1822. They're going to have the restaurant that we built down there. You have access to things like that. And then they're also going to have luxury suites they're building underneath. That'll be like at field level is where the suites will be. Not the best seats probably, but they will be field level in that south end zone. The premium seats are going for $6,000 a piece. There'll be 400 of those. That's going to raise a lot of money, and also then selling more suites, that will also raise money. Having access to the restaurant, that will raise money. All of these different things are all about making money for Ohio State. And if anyone wants to complain about that, and people have complained like, oh, this is, why are they doing this, moving the band? And do you want Ohio State to compete, right? You want Ohio State to compete. We all do. Ohio State fans are, pardon the pun, nuts about the Buckeyes. And so Ohio State's going to find new ways to raise money that don't involve asking donors for more money. And because at some point, there's going to be a time when the donors say, you know what, no, we're tapped out or whatever it is. And so Ohio State's finding creative ways to do it. They've got a bunch of experiences you can do where you can pay money and get a special behind-the-scenes tour of the Horseshoe. Little things like that are going on. A lot of meet and greets, a lot of fundraising events for the athletic department they're doing. Football drives all of this. So you can be upset about it and say, I know some people have got legit gripes. I heard one person, I was talking to Bobby Carpenter about this, someone on social media, was upset because they specifically picked their seats to be by the band, and now the band is moving. Their season tickets they picked to be right by the band, and they kind of got blindsided by this. I understand that. I get why that would upset you. But by and large, though, it's just another way to bring money in to keep this train rolling. It's a 1922 club, by the way, not the 1822 club. I don't know why I said that. But the 400 premium seats will be $6,000 for the season. Game day access to all-inclusive food, beer, and wine, private restrooms, access to exclusive member-only special events, and things like that. So all those things are going to be happening. That'll be for the 2026 season for Ohio State when that all gets built. But again, this is just ways to make more money so they can spend more on this athletic department, this athletic budget, because Ohio State, the last thing they want to do is cut sports. And we know if they cut sports, football ain't one of them. Basketball's not one of them either. Wrestling's not one of them. If they start cutting sports, and so it's gonna be they said when Ross Bjork and when Ted Carter, they both reiterated they don't want to cut sports. If this helps them save some of those sports in some way, that's fantastic, because that's what Ohio State wants to do. And it won't affect most people. It's not going to affect a lot of the people. It won't affect me. I'm not going to be one of the people that are shelling out the $6,000 a seat for the 400 tickets. They will sell them all, though, and they'll sell the suites too, and Ohio State will make more money and then spend more money as well. Okay, Ohio State made some changes to their upcoming schedule. This is something I loathe about college football, is how far in advance they set schedules. It was news when Ohio State made some changes to the 2029 and 2030 schedules. So they have now added Navy and Youngstown State to come to play in Columbus in the 2029 season. And they had a Nevada game they were supposed to play. That got moved to 2030. So what that means now, like Ohio State, this year we already talked about Texas, Grambling State, OU here. In 2026, they host Ball State on September 5th, then travel to Texas, then host Kent State. 2027, 3 home games, Bowling Green, New Hampshire, Alabama. Can't wait for that one. The following year, in 2028, it'll be Buffalo at Alabama, home against Northern Illinois. The 2029 is a weak non-conference schedule. We'll make fun of this one, but it's Navy, Charlotte, Youngstown State. Then you got Georgia on the road in 2030, Georgia here in 2031, and then home and home with Boston College in 35 and 36. So the schedule's set way out. I don't know if all these games will happen. It wouldn't surprise me if the Georgia game somehow got condensed into one game, depending on what happens to the CFP, but we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, so that was the schedule. Ohio State now getting Navy. They last played Navy in 2014, got a win against them. They last played Youngstown State in they have since 2007. They're 3-0 against Youngstown State. So that's kind of an ode to you get that thing where that Bowling Green in 2027. Eddie George is there. Youngstown State in 2029, that's got, Trestle ties. New Hampshire in 2027, that's where Ryan Day went to school. So, anyway, that's why they're doing that. And I'm okay with that. I just want to have at least one premium non-conference game every year if they can get that. Also, there's been a lot of talk about the CFP. The SEC had their meetings, and there's different models being bandied about for how they want to proceed with the format. After this year, it's going to be the last year, the second year, last year of the 12-team playoff, and they made one small change. I should say it's small; it's a significant change. They're going to base the first round buys on whoever the top 4 teams are, regardless if they won their conference. So I appreciate the fact that college football looked at it and said, you know what? That wasn't real smart. We're going to change it, and they're changing it this year. That's fantastic. That also opens the door for Notre Dame to get a bye this year if they're one of the top 4 seeds. So that was a minor change. Nothing's official yet, but all signs point to a 16-team playoff starting next season. And when that happens, there's different talks about how to do this. Now, I've heard some stupid arguments. I heard one with a couple of play-in games with like the 16 seed versus 13, 14 versus 15. A couple of teams get double buys, which makes no sense. If they go to 16, do straight 16. Everyone plays in the first round with the better seed getting the home game. Let's just do it that way. The question is, though, how do you get to 16? There was the Big Ten and SEC had both kind of floated ideas about like, hey, we should each get 4 guaranteed slots every year. There was talk of a 4-4, 2-2-1-3 model with 4 guaranteed spots for the SEC and Big Ten, 2 spots for the ACC, 2 spots for the Big 12, 1 spot for a group of 5, group of 6 team, I guess it would be now, a champion there, and then the 3 at large, which could include Notre Dame. Obviously, they would be in the mix for that, and then whatever else there was. That is something Ryan Day has said. He believes that the Big Ten should get 4 automatic bids, just based on how strong the conference is. They said, you look at us, we got 18 teams in this. Look at our strength top to bottom. We should be guaranteed at least 4. Now, if you guarantee 4, you can still have 5 or maybe even 6, depending on the at-larges worked out. But for a while, it looked like the SEC was leaning that way as well. But now the SEC seems to have changed course. And Greg Sankey at their meetings hinted that they're more in favor of 5 and 11, where there's 5 conference champions get in, the Power 4, and then a group of 5 champion automatically in, and then 11 at-large berths, regardless of conference. SEC is saying we should do that. Big Ten and Ryan Day, I shouldn't say Big Ten, Ryan Day is the one who came out today and mentioned he thinks it should be the 4 automatic buys. We'll see what happens with that. But it's what I like about the fact is that it is the college football is not afraid to change now. For years, they did not make any changes at all. It seemed like they were positive, and now they are. Look, last year I thought the playoff was great. I don't think anybody could argue it wasn't a huge success. So if this will be the last year of the 12 team, if they go to the 16, I hope, like I said, I hope they do it the way I pointed out, and you maybe have on-campus games for the first 2 rounds where the better seed gets to host. So I think that'd be fantastic, and then go to the bowl games after that when you whittle down the field a little bit there after the first 2 rounds. Brett Yormark is the Big 12 commissioner, and we call it a Power 4 with the Big 12 and ACC joining the SEC and Big 10, but it's really a Power 2 and a less Power 2, because the ACC and Big 12 are going to have to pretty much do whatever the SEC and Big 10 want to do. And their conference commissioner for the Big 12, Brett Yormark, came out and said that he puts a lot of responsibility on the Big Ten and SEC to do what's best for college football. And he's hitting the fact that, a 5 and 11 would make the most sense, and not with the guaranteed things, but the guaranteed bids. That's what Yormark's insinuating there with that. He thinks it's the responsibility of the Big Ten and the SEC to do what's best for college football. That's a fine thing to say, but the Big Ten and SEC will do what's best for the Big Ten and SEC. That's just the way it is. Yormark said he has a lot of faith in the process. I think we'll land in the right place. But that's what Yormark wants. He wants to see the Big Ten and SEC do what's best for everybody and not just what's best for the Big Ten and the SEC. We'll see what ends up happening with that, but I'm excited to see how they make the changes for 2027, the 2026 season, the 2027 games, I guess. My God, I can't believe we're that far into this. Other news, too. James Laurinaitis, the former Ohio State great linebacker, had a long NFL career, was a first-round pick, and now is the linebackers coach of Ohio State, doing wonderful things at Ohio State as a linebackers coach. Now, this is his first season as a full-time assistant. He's on the road recruiting, and he's making a lot of hay there, and the linebackers doing great. He was nominated for the College Football Hall of Fame for the class of 2026. It's his 7th straight time he's been nominated. I hope Laurinaitis gets in. Had a great college career. He won the Bronco Nagurski Trophy. He won the Dick Butkus Award as well as the best linebacker. So he's also, and I got this from Bucknuts, the last Buckeye to record 100 tackles in 3 consecutive seasons. He's number 7 in school history with 375 tackles and 24.5 tackles for loss. He also had 13 sacks and 9 interceptions. And he had 5 interceptions in 2006, an OSU record for linebackers. So other linebackers gone in, obviously, Spielman, Cousineau, Gradishar, they've all been in. They're already in the Hall of Fame. And I am hoping that James Laurinaitis gets to join them as well. All right, that's it for today. We'll talk more next time. There's a lot of basketball news to talk about. I'm sure more football news will break. Make sure you follow us. Follow me on Twitter, @ThatHappens. Download the app. It's free for Apple and Android users. Absolutely free. Download it. You can catch all of our program with lots of new stuff coming out. This has been Buckeye Blitz. I'm Jeff Tito Thitoff, and this is on FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media.